Welcome back to part 2 of our conversation with designated drinker Colin Asare-Appiah, trade director of multicultural and LGBTQ advocacy for Bacardi, and the co-author of Black Mixcellence, which we're going to get into. Now, if you've missed part 1, though, you want to go ahead and belly back up to that bar and give that a listen first. Don't worry, we'll save a seat right here for you. So Colin, in part 1, you shared that diversity and inclusion is the name of your game as that trade director for Bacardi.
Yep.
And now I'd really just, if you feel like it, let's just dive right into this beautiful book of yours.
Yeah, thank you.
What's the inspiration behind this?
Oh, right. Okay. I was actually approached for this book maybe 2 years ago by Kingston Imperial. Exactly. Black Mixcellence. And it's a snapshot into cocktail culture. And it really shows what Black people have been doing within cocktail culture for a generation, which is over the last, I'd say 5 or 6 years. And it really shows the ingredients that we've been working with, tells some of the stories, which will be on the website. And all of the recipes, the majority of them are, original recipes, but some of them are classics or riffs on classics that these Black mixologists have enjoyed working with for their careers. It's what they wanted to highlight. They said it was the best representation of them. So we use that. And, Black Mixcellence also has some stories at the beginning as well, just about Black mixologists in yesteryear, because you have to give a nod to those that went before you can take that step forward. And I remember when I first started bartending, there weren't really any bartenders that looked like me, walked like me, or talked like me. And then I came across a book called The Ideal Bartender by Tom Bullock, which totally changed my life. And then I came to a realization, like looking at his cocktail book, which came out in 1917.
Wow.
That Prohibition was about to start. So his book obviously disappeared. Now, there's lots of historical notes about Black bartenders through the 1800s that their stories haven't really been shared. A lot of them are actually in the DMV area. There was the Black Mixologist Clubs, which was at a Howard Theatre. And the bartenders, I know, Gina, we actually did the launch party there when it was redesigned. I remember coming up for it. That was amazing.
Yeah.
And this cocktail book is a great snapshot into what's happening now. Back then, people obviously couldn't write cocktail books. They couldn't put any area of recipes down. And they made amazing juleps, old fashions. There's a lot of cocktails that Black mixologists made, which they didn't get the credit for. So we thought, let's get a snapshot of bartenders and Black mixologists now and what they're making so we can give them the flowers that they're due. And this book definitely does that.
Well, you skimmed over something and the only reason I know this is because you shared it with me, and I knew this but didn't put it together, that the reason they weren't written down was because they couldn't admit that they could read or write.
Well, it was a death sentence. During slavery, if you were Black and you could read or write, it was definitely a death sentence, because if you found out, you could be hung. So
fucked up.
A lot of the general history of Black people was all oratory, so nothing could be written down. So that's why you don't really get any cocktail books until 1917, when Tom Bullock first wrote that cocktail book. And then you fast forwarded, I think there's one other person that
wrote... Wait, Colin, back up. Can you tell our listeners who Tom Bullock was? Because they just know he's a bartender, but can you just give a quick...
Tom Bullock was a Black bartender who was based out of St. Louis, and he worked at the Pandemis Club in St. Louis, and He also worked on the railroads as well. We did a lot of research into him and his family. And basically, when he wrote his cocktail book in 1917, an American president actually loved the book so much, he penned the foreword for him, which is an amazing accolade. And that book now has been resurrected, and it's definitely as popular as Professor Jerry Thomas's book as well, which showed the golden age of cocktail culture at the beginning, and Tom Bullock's cocktail book was at the end of the last golden age of the cocktail, because then we went into Prohibition, then we went into the First World War, then we went into the Second World War. Things ended up being in cans. No one was using fresh juices, and the rest is history. And then vodka became king as a spirit ingredient in a cocktail. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. But coming back to Black Mixcellence, it's definitely a snapshot into what we're doing now as a culture. And it's great. And I hope this inspires other people to write a cocktail book, because there's so many stories to be told. One book is just the beginning, and I hope it provides an inspiration for others.
We need to get Colin with the lady. What was her guest that was here from Alexandria? She does she told us about the cocktails that they served.
From Black History Museum.
Yes, from the Black History Museum. Yeah. Yes. She's amazing. She has a lot of history of local Southern cocktails that were served here by Black bartenders in in Black bars, because there was the Little Green Taverns here in our area. And she had so much information. It was crazy. Can't think of her name. I apologize. We'll find it.
That's all right. Find it, and I'd love to connect with her.
So are you inspired?
I am inspired. Before I make a cocktail, though, I just want to just go through this really quickly. So first of all, I have to say, Colin, I love the fact that we got a pre-look at a book, so that's my fave. Yeah. My favorite thing that I've read so far is Off to the Races, The Mint Julep.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to buy a cocktail book and you think you know everything about cocktails, and you've been, tooting your own horn, and you know how great you are, and you know the story of Mint Julep, honestly, this page just schooled the shit out of me. So as a person that probably owns close to every book, I think I probably missed a few here and there. Yeah. But all the big ones that count, I feel like you're on to something that's going to be the big one that counts. And it's the beginning of the corrections, and it should almost be an appendix to other cocktail books. And you're like, oh, was that how the julep was made? Because I'm not really sure. Or are you really sure that this was, where all those spices came from? I think that there's a time where it's okay to go back through a history and say it's okay to correct it, and that goes for a lot of cooking books and. Cookbooks, and all the things that have to do with the restaurant and bar industry, for sure. Yeah. Who is, in a snapshot, in 2 sentences or less, who is Bertie Brown?
Bertie is a great bartender who created some great cocktails with whiskey, and he is a family. I think during the research by Tamika Hall, who is who's the author for the book, Bertie Brown was someone that they wanted to include just because they had such great contributions to the whiskey industry, and just very much like Uncle Nearest did for American whiskey, so did Bertie Brown.
The Uncle Nearest story. If you don't know that story, and you don't, and you can go back and download. I forgot what episode number it is, but we had them on the show. But Uncle Nearest is by far one of the most quintessential cocktail or beginning of whiskey that you need to understand in order to understand what this unfortunate, not giving enough light to the culture and the differences and race and where everything came from and all of those things. But speaking of that,
even if you think about it, the White House was a place where a lot of Black mixologists worked. A lot of amazing Black chefs worked as well. A lot of their recipes changed and shaped American culture. And Tamika writes about some of that in the book as well. And whenever I get the chance, I always try and pick up any of the White House cookbooks because there's little recipes in the back for lots of different tinctures and lots of different kind of sodas, which add a different profile to a cocktail. And I'm sure the black mixologists at the White House used to use those cordials and sodas and everything for their cocktails.
There's a lore here. There's a lore here in D.C. where people say that the mint julep was invented at the White House and not at the Kentucky Derby, right?
That's fighting talk.
No, but I'm just saying there's a big thing that people talk about here. But I was going to say we have this like little thing in Washington D.C. called the Library of Congress.
Yeah.
And they have every single copy of the White House cookbooks. So I'm happy to go there, spend too much of an afternoon with you, meet up with a couple of friends that I have, and thumb through some books.
Love to do that. I think I've got 4 of them at the moment.
Well, we got 30.
Yeah, I've only got 4.
Yo, I'm saying we'll have a good time. We'll go.
Yeah, can't
we'll
wait.
pack a pint. We won't talk about that. We'll do it in true Washingtonian style. You hide your liquor, you drink in plain sight, and nobody says anything. All right, so I was going through the book and I was like, what could be inspirational depending on the time of year that this episode's going to come out? And the Belafonte Margarita just speaks to me. So I'm going to give you the quick ingredients for everybody. And if you miss anything, don't worry. You're going to go to designateddrinker.show for the recipe, and we'll post it with Colin's permission, of course. So it says that you have 1 ounce of illegal mezcal joven, 1 ounce of martini Fiero. And then you add Fiero. Half an ounce of lime juice. 2 ounces of fresh watermelon juice. I like to call it water, puree, whatever you want. You can do it in a blender, and I'm going to show you a trick on how to do it with your juicer at home if you may not have a blender, or if you're in your car and you pull off the side of the road and you're having a picnic. And then you have 3 slices of habanero peppers, and then a half an ounce of simple syrup. So we have all of this in our shaker tin already. The trick of this cocktail, and excuse me if I'm wrong, is the fact that you want to double strain this one, because you have all of this, goodies in there, and you want to make sure you use your fine mesh strainer on this cocktail in particular. So I'm going to add the ice to the drink, and we all know that you fill up the top of your shaker tin, so it's 3/4 of the way full, and not to spill everything. And yes, Louise, I'm using my hand, so we're just going to go with it.
It's all good. It's got tequila in it.
It's got alcohol. We're fine. So we're going to give it a shake. The sitting shake is always like a mind.
The sitting shake is always fun.
It's like, I can't do this. Anyway, so you want to make sure that you're shaking this enough that the tin is getting nice and cold. And if it's not, keep shaking.
You're going to repeat that after you stop shaking.
Oh, sorry. You always want to remember you want to keep shaking your cocktail till your tin gets nice and cold. If your tin is not cold, you need to shake harder and longer. And until you can spell your name with some ice, it is not done. So we are going to double strain this cocktail. It looks beautiful. Colin, correct me if I'm wrong. Can we make this drink frozen if we strain the liquid first?
Yeah, you can actually. You can make it frozen. You can make it into ice pops as well. They're really good as ice pops. I've done that before. And this recipe was inspired actually by Harry Belafonte. And he... I always watched him in Carmen, and I always used to think, wow, one day when I grow up, I want to be just like him. And, Carmen obviously was known for a red dress, so I thought, let's make a red cocktail. She was a bit spicy, and that was the inspiration for the cocktail. But yes, you can make it into little
Color
popsicles.
good?
Ooh!
Okay.
Yes.
I passed the test.
You passed the test. Now I want to drink it. Wow, that
I'm
looks
gonna pass
great.
one to Louise. It's now.
It's so full. It looks so delicious.
This is an easy. I mean, honestly, this is a great read recipe. So I really appreciate anybody that actually does their homework when they're doing a cocktail book, because sometimes people just throw it together like, oh, these should work, and then they don't. And you're like, are you kidding me or what?
This is amazing. Thank you, Colin. This
Cheers.
is amazing. Cheers.
I had a lot of fun making this cocktail and R&D in.
Just enough heat.
Just
the balance,
enough.
that sweet. Oh, so good.
Can we talk about that martini really quickly, right? What is that supposed to be like an Aperol? Like, what is it?
What's that? Oh, the Martini Fiero. Oh, right. Martini Fiero is, it's supposed to be like an Aperol. And the ABV is really low. Exactly. It's beautiful. The ABV is really low, and it's lots of Monsieur oranges. So you get that big orange flavor. And it's great on its own. It's great to be mixed in cocktails. Great with a little bit of Prosecco. I mean, hey, super versatile.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's one of the best things I tasted 3 years ago when it first came out.
I mean, I'm going to be honest on the show. I haven't had it before.
Exactly.
But I did match the color of my top today.
I saw that.
Nice. So where are they going to go to get this recipe?
You're going to go to designateddrinker.show for our tits. For tits. So if you like tits and cocktails, you should come to designateddrinker.show.
Hey, that's taking the show to a whole new level.
I had one sip. Just play that. That sounds great. Fuck it. Tits and tricks. There we go. No, if you're gonna go to designateddrinker.show for our tips, tricks, and how-tos, how to make cocktails, or how to get Colin's new book. Also, get involved. If you're listening to this and you're a bartender and you feel that you need, some guidance and, hit up, there's gotta be a website, right? From Bacardi that they can get to you, Colin?
Yeah, they can. Or you can just find me on Instagram at Cocktail Colin. Really, really easy. And my mantra is get involved, bruv. And you can always find me. I'm based out of New York, but I travel all around the country. We're going to start touring with the book soon. So look out for us. Enjoy yourselves. Stay safe out there and look out for each other.
Yep. And so if you've missed any of those things, don't worry. Like Gina said, we'll make sure that it's at designateddrinker.show, that all those links will be there. They're in your episode notes. So all you have to do is scroll down. You'll find that's how quick and easy it is to get to Colin. And then, of course, we'll link together on our grams. So I think this one's you, Gina.
That's it. All right, Colin, this is how we know if you listen to the show or not. So in this day and age, everybody identifies themselves as some sort of spirit animal. And you might think that your spirit animal is the love bug, because the love bug, gives you a little love bite on your neck, right? But if you can identify yourself as one ingredient, whether it's for food or beverage, what would that ingredient be?
Oh, your spirit ingredient. What spirit ingredient inspires you? What spirit? Okay. The spirit ingredient that inspires me for a cocktail is grains of paradise, which is, we're talking about spice at the top of the show. And grains of paradise is a little pepper, which we grow in Ghana, which is my native country where I was born. And it's these beautiful, really aromatic peppers. They're really small, but they pack a punch. And just sprinkled on a pineapple cocktail with cream, rum, and coconut, pina colada. Boom! It's the one.
I think that's a first for us, right? I love that.
Never. That's awesome.
I feel Colin's drinks will be hitting my cocktail list for this summer. Little grains of paradise on top.
Yeah, just a little sprinkle of it on top. I was
going to say just a little
pina
Colin.
colada.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Just a little Colin.
Just a little Colin.
There you go. Just add a little Colin to that cocktail. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. Cheers. This beautiful cocktail and your amazing recipe book.
Thank you.
Gina, I can't wait for
Good
you
luck.
to make more.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And everyone can pre-order it. So let's go.
The Designated Drinker Show is produced by Missing Link, a podcast media company that is dedicated to connecting people to intelligent, engaging, and informative content. Also in the Missing Link lineup of podcasts is Rodger That, a podcast dedicated to guiding you through the haze of dementia, led by skilled caregivers Bobbi and Mike Carducci. Now, if you're looking for a whole new way to enjoy the theater, check out Between Acts, an immersive audio theater podcast experience. Each episode takes you on a spellbinding journey through the works of newfound playwrights, from dramas to comedies and everything in between. Find Missing Link's League of Podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you find your podcasts. Please don't forget to subscribe, download, and review the shows. Your review helps our shows reach new audiences. To find out more about Missing Link, visit missinglink.company. That's missinglink.company.